Hey, third-party companies always give their figures the craziest names. Today we're taking a look at the brand new Brotoys Deicide War, aka third-party Kratos from God of War. Deicide is a funny name. It's like, you know, close enough to God of War. I mean, not really. Deicide means like to destroy a divine being. I had to look that up. I wasn't even sure. But it's fitting for the character. Like, it's close enough in concept. So that is pretty damn awesome. Huge thank you to the folks over at 5K Toys for sending this out to me to review. I do appreciate it. If you're interested in picking this figure up, I'll leave a link to all their information in the description below. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Actually, before we do, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. I'm trying to get to 70,000 subscribers by the end of the summer. I think I could do it. It is going to be a tall task, but it's definitely possible with your help. So please be sure to subscribe. But let's go ahead and take a look at this figure, starting off with the packaging. The packaging is pretty simple. As you can see here, we have a logo right up front, and then on the side of the box we get a close-up look at the figure. Then down there it does say Brotoys. On the back we get some information about like the figure. It's mostly like safety stuff, nothing about the character or anything like that. And then we get another look at Mr. War on this side, and that's about it for the packaging. It is collector friendly and all that good stuff, but enough about the pretty box. Let's go ahead and get this guy out and take a look. Man, this is a really nice figure. There are some great things going on here, specifically with the design, the details, and the sculpt. They did such a phenomenal job with the sculpt. There are so many little things going on, like in all the armor pieces or like the stuff around his waist. Just everything is extremely well sculpted and looks incredible. The articulation on him is okay. You could definitely pose him a little bit, but obviously there are some limitations because of all of the armor. But they did some pretty cool stuff here, like at the arms. You know, he does have these big old shoulder armor pieces that, you know, something like this would definitely get in the way. But the way they did it is like the shoulder pads themselves are on magnets, so you could kind of move them out of the way, like if you're trying to bring the arm up, and then you could kind of shift these around, and they kind of stay in place because they're like close enough to the magnet to where like it's not going to be like just flopping around or anything. So that's awesome. I like the way they did that. But man, this is a great looking figure. And you know, I'm not much of a video game guy, so it's not like I'm an expert on Kratos. I like the character, but you know, I've never even played God of War, or maybe I played it once or twice back in the day, but you know, I'm not an expert. So I did a little research about this armor here. This is the way that Kratos looked after he fought a bunch of Valkyries. And, you know, that's when he got this armor. But in the game, you could kind of change up the armor and customize it yourself. But, yeah, this is the look he had after he defeated a bunch of Valkyries. Feel free to let me know anything about Kratos in the comments below. Because although I've never been, like, into God of War, I've always been a big fan of the character because he's just a badass, you know? I have a couple figures of him and, you know, I like them quite a bit. But yeah, man, this thing is amazing. Like, what they did with the design and stuff and the sculpting is just, it's incredible, to be honest with you. I like all the little attachments. He's got the Bifrost lamp and, you know, a knife back here. One problem I was having with this figure, when I was posing him around, like, his arm would come off really easy. Check that out. So that's one small issue I was having. It wasn't really that big of a deal, but, you know, it's something. But yeah, man, this is a great looking figure. And one of the most impressive things about this figure is the amount of sculpted detail that he has. Honestly, it's freaking insane. It may be one of the most detailed figures that I've ever seen. There's so much going on. And it's not just on the figure itself, like the accessories, the weapons, everything has so much sculpting work and it's all so well done and really well painted. Everything looks amazing. And I've been having a really good time just picking up this figure and like staring at the armor and discovering something new every time I look at it because there's just so much there. It's amazing. But let's go ahead and take a look starting off at the head. As you can see, he does have that really nice looking Kratos head sculpt. He's got the awesome beard, the red war paint on the head, and then like the pale looking skin. Look at the eyes. Those look really nice. And yeah, this is a great looking head sculpt. I think they did a good job with it. Not too much going on up here on the head. He's got a bald head, you know. But look at that. The painting on the beard is like perfect. You don't see any like brown on the skin or anything like that. It's only on the hair and it looks good, man. And that facial expression is perfect. The war paint looks good. The eyes look good. So this is a great looking head sculpt. But man, this is where it gets crazy. Look at the armor. And like, look at the straps and this thing around the collar here. There's just so much. Like, this is ridiculous to me. Like, at 1/12 scale, this is crazy. Man, that is... Some of this detail, I can't even see straight up. I need to, you know, using my camera is really where I'm able to get in there and appreciate it. So some of this stuff I'm seeing for the first time right now, and it's so impressive. I love the color of the armor. Look at all that, man. And it's so well painted. This is a beautiful looking gold here. Jeez, look back here too. Man. I don't know what this thing is. Some kind of hook. Probably, you could probably store a weapon there or something, but it's kind of soft plastic, so I don't know. But yeah, I just want to take a minute to appreciate all this amazing work here. Damn, look at that. And then there's a bit of a paint wash in there, but it's like perfectly done. There's no like paint wash where it's not supposed to be, so it goes right into the grooves and allows all of that detail to stand out. Man. And then around the waist here, he's got... Look at all this shit, man. This is crazy. These little things are on metal loops. And look at the details on those little coin things. Like, that is insanity. And then look at all this. Again, perfectly painted. They painted it in a way that, like, it looks clean and it just brings out all the detail, you know? Jeez. Then he does have his Bifrost lamp, or key to the Bifrost. And it has like this leatherish type of strap that you could just kind of loop around the belt. Back here he does have a knife in a sheath. And let's get this out real quick. Look at that. Slides in there nicely with no problem at all. And look at the detail on the handle here. Ridiculous. And the belt is really cool because it's just held on with the magnet here. So if you want to take it off, you can. You don't have to worry about like trying to plug a, you know, a plastic peg into a hole. That's always a hassle. But man, look at this. And then over on this side, he does have his retracted shield on the forearm. I don't know if I have that on the right way. I think either way works. Oh yeah, I think either way works. But that looks good. And it plugs right into the forearm gauntlet. And the plugs are pretty small, so you don't even really see the holes when you remove the retracted shield. So that's nice. And then he does have some soft goods pants hidden in there. I do wish this stuff was softer plastic so it could get out of the way of the legs, but you know, it's alright. And check out the detail on the boots. Some really nice work in there. And some nice paint work, some nice like dry brushing to bring all that detail out. But yeah, man, this is a beautiful figure, and it's really like the armored pieces that stand out and that are the most impressive to me because they just went crazy with the detail. Like, I don't know, whoever sculpted this did an incredible job. Like, it's insane. This is definitely one of the most detailed figures that I've ever seen. And yeah, man, it's an awesome looking Kratos. So they killed it with the paint, the detail, the sculpt. Everything about this guy is beautiful. And then for accessories, we get several sets of hands. First off, we get a set of open relaxed hands, and then we have a set of open dramatic hands. Next up, we get a pair of fists, and then finally we have a set of gripping hands. And then he does come with two different heads. The first one is that stone face killer look that we've already looked at. The alternate head has Kratos screaming dramatically. Both of these head sculpts are really nice, although the screaming head does have a couple of paint imperfections in the mustache area, but aside from that, both of these heads are really, really good. And then he does come with a bunch of really cool weapons, starting off with his Leviathan axe. And man, look at the detail on this thing. That is, man, that is ridiculous. Look at all that stuff that we have going on in there. Jeez. And it's like perfectly painted too. Like all the raised, sculpted areas are painted like the color that they're supposed to be, and it doesn't look like any of the paint bleeds into areas where it shouldn't. That is, man, this is crazy. I'm gonna be praising the detail on all of these weapons quite a bit because it's just so impressive. Look at that. And then check out the detail on the handle. And even, look at, oh my god, what the hell is going on here? Like some of the detail, I can't even see like with my naked eye. Here, this is insane. Yeah, this is like above and beyond when it comes to detail. Look at all the characters in there. Man, that is crazy. Yeah, this is beautiful. This is really well done. The paintwork is perfect. The sculpted detail is amazing. And yeah, it's a cool looking axe for sure. Oh, look at that. Jeez. I didn't even see the gold lining on the inside here. But man, that is so crazy. And then of course he does come with his two swords. And these do have like a chain that you're able to wrap around his forearm. And then you could kind of loop into the handle of the sword. And the chain is pretty nice. It does have like a wire running through it. But the wire is not thick enough to like support the weight of the sword or anything. So you can't really pose it. You could pose the chain on its own. But you can't really pose like the sword's in a position where, you know, he's like throwing them or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, I'm cool with the chain and everything, and the wire going through it is fine, but it would have been cool if it was thick enough to support the swords. That would have been tough though, because these swords are pretty big and they are freaking amazing. Check out the detail on them. And it looks like the two swords are identical to each other, even with like all the markings and stuff. Everything looks the same. But yeah, these are beautiful, man. Really well sculpted. Look, damn, look at all that. Jeez. Some nice different colors in there. Man, I'm just baffled by how much detail everything has. Man, look at that. The blade looks insane too. I like the different colors that we have on there. How it's like a lighter metal color on the sharper part, and then it kind of gets darker on the inside there. And we have a design on the inside of the blade. I'm sure this design is significant. As I mentioned before, I'm not like a God of War expert, so I don't know every single little thing about the lore, but I'm sure these tree-looking designs are significant for some reason. Feel free to let me know in the comments. But man, these swords are amazing. And then he does come with this shield, and just like everything else on this figure, the detail on this is absolutely ridiculous. Look at all the stuff that we have going on here on the face of the shield. Look at all that, man. That is crazy. It's so impressive what these quote-unquote third-party companies do in regards to like detail on their figures. It's just ridiculous. Look at all that. The sculpting work on here is just insane. And I love the color too. It has kind of like an aged gold bronze type of color. And it matches the figure perfectly. And it just looks awesome. And then taking a look at the inside of the shield. There's a lot of good stuff going on in here as well. See all that? All that detail is amazing. The one thing I don't love about the shield are the straps that go around the arms. They're like this like fake leathery type of material. It's very hard to like tighten them down once the shield is on the arm. I actually broke one of them. I broke the one around the wrist here. So what I did was I just tightened it and then glued it down onto itself. Just tight enough so that it holds onto the arm, but I'm still able to get it in and out of the strap. And then I just use the strap around the forearm here to kind of tighten the shield down. So yeah, I'm not crazy about these straps. I do wish there was another way to get the shield onto him. But, you know, if you could figure something out, I mean, you know, he's able to hold the shield with these straps. And the way I did it, it's pretty secure on there now. It just kind of sucks that I broke it. But yeah, if you're careful, I'm sure you could figure out like a better way that'll work for you. There's some potential here, but I think they could have done something a little better with these straps. But aside from that, everything else about the shield is amazing, especially the sculpting work on the front. And then for the final and probably coolest accessory that he comes with, we get Mimir. And at first I thought this was just like a severed head of a god or something. But thankfully, people in the live stream that I do on Tuesdays and Fridays let me know what this was all about. Then I did some research and found out that this is like a really important character in the game. So I'm glad I didn't go on here and say, oh, it's like it's a god that he killed, because he's much more than that. But yeah, look at this, man. He looks cool. I love that he has the two different color eyes. After doing that research, I found out that his eyes are different colors because I believe it was like the frost giants that gave him a gift to, you know, have like a key to travel through the 9 realms, and it's actually one of his eyes. So that is dope. So yeah, huge shout out to the people on my live stream that helped me out with that. And also huge shout out to the homie Madness80. That was another person that I was asking a bunch of questions to about this whole figure. But anyways, yeah, this is incredible right here. This is awesome. Look at the writing on the head, the horns. I do wish that this like handle thing was a little longer because it's kind of hard to get him to hold on to it. I mean, you can put it onto his belt here. And, you know, that's okay. But then it seems kind of messed up if this guy is alive and Kratos just has him hanging from the back of the belt. And then he is able to hold on to it. But, yeah, I wish the handle was a little bit longer because there's no like real good way to hold it. I guess that's all right. But, yeah, this is a great accessory. This is so cool. Kind of turns this into a 2-pack because you get 2 important characters. So now for some quick size comparisons. Here we have him alongside the NECA God of War Ultimate Kratos. And man, this figure is freaking amazing. I haven't messed around with him in years. I think it's been in my storage for like 5 or 6 years, but I forgot how awesome that thing is. On the opposite side, we have the 1000 Toys Halo Master Chief. And yeah, speaking about this NECA Kratos figure, I really like the skin tone on him, how it's more of like a pale look. The old school look of him is awesome. I'd love to see somebody revisit this version of Kratos, although this NECA one really does the job pretty well. So I don't know if he's rare these days or what, but that's a great figure. And to put him alongside some more video game figures, here we have him alongside the Patriot Studios Resident Evil Zombie Cop and the Patriot Studios Resident Evil Leon Kennedy. And then next up, we have him alongside the Jada Toys Street Fighter M. Bison and Jada Toys Street Fighter Fei Long. And then here we have him alongside the Jada Toys Mega Man and the Figma Link. And obviously, Kratos doesn't really fit in with a bunch of these video game characters, but he is going to go on my video game shelf, so I wanted to give you guys a look at him alongside a bunch of video game stuff. And then here we have him alongside a couple of figures that I think he'd probably fit in really well with. On the left, we have the Savage Crucible Royal Guard. On the right, we have a Mythic Legion's Valiant Knight. And then here we have him alongside one of the Zesray Studios Combatants Fight for Glory figures. And then on the opposite side, we have the Mezco 112 Collective Conan. And then here we have him alongside a couple of Marvel gods. On the left, we have the Marvel Legends Hercules. On the right, we have the Marvel Legends 80th Anniversary Thor with the custom cape from Harker Customs. And then here we have him alongside the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Return to New York Raphael. On the opposite side, we have the McFarlane Toys Infected Superman. And then last but not least, of course, we have him alongside the Marvel Legends Renew Your Vows Spider-Man and the Marvel Legends Bucky Cap. And as expected, the articulation on this guy is pretty limited. Obviously, he's got a lot going on with the design. He's got like armor, the stuff around the waist, and just everything that we see here makes it to where, you know, you're not really going to be able to get him into the most dynamic poses ever. I am having fun messing around with it. You know, you could get him into some cool poses, but it is pretty limited. There are some joints that definitely get more range than I was expecting, so that was nice to see. But for the most part, there isn't really a whole lot going on here. But let's go ahead and take a look starting off at the head. So he does have a ball joint at the head, so he can look side to side. We get a little bit of tilting action, which is nice. He could look up to about right there, which, you know, is not a whole lot. If you want him to look up more, you're going to have to get his torso to help you out a little bit. And then he could look down only to about right there. And then, I can't remember if I mentioned it, but he can look side to side, obviously. So yeah, not a whole lot of movement at the head. And then for the torso, he does have a diaphragm cut and then a ball joint at the waist. The diaphragm cut is pretty nice, but the ball joint at the waist is very limited because of the way they did the skirt. So like the plastic of the skirt goes all the way down to the post in there, you know, like the post that has the ball joint at the end of it. Yeah, the plastic of the skirt goes all the way down. If I pop this apart, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about a little bit clearer. And, you know, if you cut away at some of this plastic, you may be able to get some additional range out of him. And, you know, it would make it to where maybe this skirt could kind of float around and allow the legs to get some more movement too. But as it is right now, the plastic goes all the way down to that post. And, you know, the skirt is pretty much stuck where it's at. And it kind of eliminates most of the articulation at the waist. So that's kind of weird. But the diaphragm cut is very nice. I was kind of surprised by the range here. So we get some nice side to side. He can kind of turn on the diaphragm, but he's mostly twisting from the waist. So that's pretty much the only thing the waist does for you. And then he can go back to about right there. The forward crunch on the diaphragm cut is really nice, actually, especially considering that his torso is pretty much covered in armor. Look at that. That's pretty good. But yeah, I think they could have done the waist a little bit differently to give us a little bit more movement in there. I may modify it. We'll see. But I am impressed with the diaphragm cut. That's nice. And then for the arms, he does have ball joints here at the shoulders. Let's go ahead and get the shoulder pad out of the way. And you're able to get his arm up to the side to about right there. Like I mentioned before, you could just kind of move the shoulder pad around and do what you have to do, and then it kind of just goes where it needs to. So that's nice. And then his arm can go all the way around. And then he does have upper bicep swivel. He has double jointed elbows to get a pretty good bend. Look at that. Boom. That's nice. And then he does have ball joints here at the wrist that have a hinge in them. So you could hinge up and down. You could spin the hand around on the ball joint, or you could spin the ball joint itself around. So that's cool. And then for the legs are really limited. Especially the upper legs here, because of this whole skirt thing. But like I said, if you cut away at some of the plastic on the inside there, maybe this thing could shift around just a little bit, because as it is, it's stuck right there, and it doesn't have like any give. It's not going to let him really bring his legs up all that much. So I wish they would have left some of, I wish the skirt just kind of floated up or something, or I wish it was like softer plastic. Yeah, it's very limited. So you're able to get his leg up to about right there, so that's not a whole lot. Kick his leg out to the side to about right there, which again, not a whole lot. He does have upper thigh swivel, double jointed knee, which gets a good bend. He has a swivel at the boot as well. And then at the foot, he has rocking ankles, or it's like a ball joint in there. So his ankles could rock side to side. They could swivel. They could go up to right there and then come down to right there. So pretty good stuff at the ankles. But yeah, I really wish that he had more movements in the legs. That's really all he needs. Like, I think the arms are pretty good. The upper body is good. I just think that if they gave him a little bit more movement at the legs, he'd be pretty much set. As it is right now, the articulation is very limited, but the figure is still fun to play with, and you could get him into some decent poses. Alrighty, so overall, at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, the dust settles, and it's all said and done, I think that Brotoys did a great job on this guy. This is an awesome figure. I love the way he looks. It's so well sculpted, man. The design is incredible, and they just put so much work into the sculpt and the detail and the paint. And man, this thing is beautiful. That's really my favorite thing about this figure, the design and just the way he looks. I'm gonna have him on my shelf just like this alongside my other video game figures, and it's gonna look awesome. The accessories that he comes with are really nice too. I like all the different weapons. I especially like that he came with Mimir, because at that point it's kind of like a 2-pack, so that is really dope to get like 2 main characters from the franchise in this set. Obviously Mimir is not like a whole figure or anything, but it does the job, so that is nice. As far as the articulation goes, that's really the weakest part about this figure. There's not a whole lot going on. The articulation is very limited because of the armor and the design, so you're not really going to be able to pose this figure all that much. You could get him into some poses, but nothing too dynamic or crazy, you know? So it is going to be kind of limited, but I'll be honest with you, in a case like this, I don't even really mind. And that's kind of unique for me, because personally, like, my ideal figures have a good balance of articulation and sculpt and design. But in this case, obviously the sculpting and the design far outweigh the articulation. You know, the articulation is there's a little bit going on, but you're not really going to get too much out of it. But in my opinion, they made up for it with the sculpt and the design, because the amount of detail this thing has is just like mind-blowing to me. So I'm enjoying that part of the figure, and the fact that he doesn't have a lot of articulation doesn't really bother me that much, because this isn't really the type of figure that I'm going to pick up and want to pose around and play with, but I will pick it up and just appreciate all the amazing work that the sculpt has. So, you know, and that's kind of unique for me. I don't really take that stance. I usually like a good mix of everything. But in this case, I'm completely happy with the figure as is. Obviously, some more articulation would have been nice, but it's not in there. It's perfectly fine because they did so much good work elsewhere. And man, I think it would be dope if Brotoys did some more characters from the franchise, and if they did them at this level, man, they could look amazing standing together on a shelf. So it'd be cool to see them visit some more characters from this awesome franchise. And yeah, I think if you're a big fan of God of War, this figure is almost a must-have. There's going to be some other God of War figures coming out pretty soon, like things that are a little less expensive, like from Spin Master. They're supposed to be coming out with the new Kratos. It's going to be a different look, but you know, if you want a less expensive Kratos, that's definitely a good option for you. But if you want something that has like a premium look with just like amazing sculpting and amazing design, this guy's definitely a must-have. I think if you're a big fan of God of War, you will not be disappointed in this figure. And with that, I think that's it. Huge thank you to 5K Toys for sending this out to me to review. I do appreciate it. I'll leave a link to all their information in the description below, so be sure to check them out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Also, be sure to hit the bell notification so you know every time that I go live. Thank you very much. Peace.